You can go on our government website now and you will see the very long list of empty jobs. So we can talk about jobs from a construction industry
Lady, they call it
to
Londonistan.
our care
the world
industry,
calls
to
it
our medical industry, to
Londonistan.
vets.
What are you talking? People are so angry
Who
there.
calls it that? Who calls it that?
Hang on. It can be totally avoided. It can be totally avoided if you follow the actual will.
I don't know who calls it that name.
Who calls it that? Lots of people. Move on.
Andrew Wilson, is it over for Trump? Has he lost the manosphere, the broligarchy? And is that therefore the tipping point for the beginning of the end?
No, he hasn't lost it. The thing is unless Trump, the main thing Trump needs to focus on is mass migration. That's what people put him in office for. That's what people want to see. They want to see him address that singular issue, especially the younger voters, especially the younger men. Until he does that, he's going to always be slipping in polls with them, and he's going to be slipping in polls with his base, period. That's what he's there to do. So Tim Dillon's point that he's making here, he says, look, he's losing support for younger men. That is true. He does need to address the mass migration issue. That's the issue of the time, and that's what people put him there for.
Yeah, Brian Shapiro, I mean, on immigration, many would say that what he's done on the southern border has been a big success. They would agree broadly with the principle of deporting undocumented people in the United States who commit other crimes, separate to their visa status. Where the big flashpoint has been over just rounding up people who are undocumented and either threatening or deporting them. But, you know, I would say his base have been quite happy largely with what he's done there. One of the big things that's become a stick to beat him with is this whole issue of transparency, be it on the Epstein Files, be it on, you know, the JFK files, be it on the murder of Charlie Kirk, you know, all these things. There's become a sort of running sore of a lot of MAGA people saying we're not getting the full transparency we were sure we get on all this stuff. How damaging has that been, do you think?
I think it's extremely damaging, Piers. The idea that this is the most transparent president and administration in years is absolutely absurd. They campaigned on it. Donald Trump and so many of his supporters released the Epstein Files. We saw what they did with Jack Posobiec and so many other Trump supporters out there in D.C. with the binders. We know what Pam Bondi said. Now, every single time a reporter asks him about it, he attacks them or they're Miss Piggy. He's unraveling by the day. We all know why Donald Trump doesn't want anybody talking about the Epstein Files. We know why. Because he's all over them and he has something to hide. The entire administration has been hiding this for him. Pam Bondi, including Kash Patel, who was asked under oath 7 times, did you tell Pam Bondi that Trump is in the Epstein Files? Couldn't even answer the question. So the idea that this administration is transparent is like saying that the earth is flat, Piers.
All right, Isabel, I saw you putting expressions that suggest you didn't entirely agree with that thesis. So your response?
Well, of course, transparency should be important to every American of every background, and we should be fighting for that in any presidential administration.
I'm actually just seeing some live tea as we go, guys. Some live tea on this one, something I haven't seen before. I'm just going to quickly just keep you guys in the loop with what's happening here. When did I speak to this dude? I spoke to him on November the 19th, and we're DMing, and he's saying, I'm in for the debate, cool, all of that, which I won't share, but then... Give me one sec, guys. I'll keep playing this, but I need to look into it. He's posted more since then.
Us who have been paying attention for years, Piers, were asking where the heck is the president of the United States at 2:00 p.m. every day under the Biden admin, when seemingly he went to the residence to take a nap and called a lid on the media almost every single day in the press briefing room. So regardless of where you fall in the political spectrum, it's something important to fight for. But the suggestion that President Trump is somehow unraveling before our very eyes.
Yeah, okay, so I didn't see this. Because he retweeted me and said that he's down to do the debate. Now he says, I don't know why it would be needed to have a moderator. I'll do it if I have to, but I have been debating people for 20 years without one. If Andrew is a great debater as he claims to be, he will not need his friend to help. I will talk economy, Trump, big beautiful bill, Trump crimes, threats, insults, Democratic policy, Biden, etc. Plenty to discuss. If you're willing to do it on both platforms live, I'm in. I would recommend Friday, December 5th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Oh, it's 2 weeks away, buddy. Come on. I would recommend, for a 90-minute debate, Andrew. I host debates with him all the time. It's not like I'm trying to help him out. I'm just the moderator. I'm a neutral moderator. That's how we do it over here. And yeah, you need a moderator for these things so that the moderator can keep both debaters in check and make sure that everybody can have their say. So goofy, but we'll see. I'll give him a call and I'll see how it goes.
I mean, he's really significant, and that's the truth. And I'll point something out that is also
they're
true.
Talking about Fuentes. Let me see.
She's
I just
right.
want to
It's not
ask,
about
well, Andrew, I
transparency.
just want to ask Andrew specifically, actually, about Nick Fuentes' role in all this, because he is gathering a lot of momentum, indisputably, capitalizing on all this. How significant is he in this ongoing debate?
I mean, he's really significant, and that's the truth. And I'll point something out that is also true. TPUSA moved a lot more towards the positions of Nick Fuentes than Nick Fuentes moved towards the positions of TPUSA, and that's a fact. That's an uncontroversial fact at this point. Now, do I agree with everything that Nick says? No, I don't need to. He doesn't agree with everything I say either, but he is right about this. Until this administration addresses mass migration, the issue of our time, and the issue of the people in the UK, their time as well, he's going to continue to be more unpopular and move down in the polls. It's not about transparency or the Epstein Files. She's absolutely right. It's about conservative issues. And we need to see Trump take a more conservative approach to the things that we want. That's what we want.
Okay, Paula, thank you for your patience. Welcome back to Uncensored.
Don't care what she has to say. Just, guys, I've got in the poll for the next topic that we're going to do. Do we want to do Lila Rose versus Pearl, review that debate, or do we want to watch Dean Withers getting groped on his own stream by a Fuentes supporter, which was funny. Don't care what this woman has to say whatsoever.
Grateful that
Blame, but as Ronald Reagan, that we are falling quite precipitously in the UK.
that
Okay.
Told by people. So nearly 1 million people in 1 year, obviously completely unsustainable on already creaking public services. And what's happened in the last year since the Labour government came into power? I think nearly 500,000 people have left the country, right? They've just said, we're out of here because this is no longer an attractive place to live.
who has made...
So in a way, the immigration issue is being resolved by people literally fleeing Britain to avoid the calamitous state of the country right now.
Who has made those people feel so unwelcome?
Keep voting against this. They keep voting against
They
this.
do.
Keep voting against mass migration, and they keep being ignored. And they've been voting against it, for 30, 40 years. And
Because
they just
they've been
keep
sold
being
a lie.
ignored.
They've been sold a lie about
I love this. Democracy is only useful for these people when it suits them. I mean, just admit that you want the power, lady. We admit it. I don't like democracy, universal suffrage. I don't see any reason why the 18-year-old, 19-year-old, even 25-year-old tofu eaters should be able to vote unless you have skin in the game, unless you have a stake. I don't even really think that I should be able to vote. I'm pretty far right with this sort of stuff. I'm pretty extreme with this sort of shit. And you should just admit it too, lady. You don't want the people who don't represent your interests voting either. Just admit it, because they've been sold a lie. What's the lie? What's the lie? That their culture is going to get subverted? Ooh. What's the most common name for a child in the UK these days? It's Muhammad. What's the lie here? I would really love to know what the lie is. What, that their towns are going to become Muslim? Oh. Islamophobia, there's going to be a 2-tier police system. Oh, all of that is true. That your population is going to be replaced, that's true. That you've got Muslim mayors in London and a Pakistani prime minister, that's true. So what is the lie here? I'd love to know. I talked about this on yesterday's stream. There's a guy named Enoch Powell who's an old school British commentator back in the 80s and 90s, and he was predicting this because there was a mass migration wave of Pakistanis coming into the UK and other nations as well, like South Asians. And he was saying that this is obviously a terrible thing. We can't be having this. And everybody was saying that he was racist and he was the worst guy ever. Everything that he said came true times 10 because the flood of migration just kept ramping up. And now England is a total shithole. Like, I went to Poland recently, a lot of you guys will know, and it's beautiful. You walk around, the streets are clean, Everything's peaceful, nicely cultured. Everyone dresses nicely. Mwah. And then I went to Austria. You guys might have seen that as well. And I went to areas that were totally Islamified, completely unsafe. The churches were totally graffitied. I mean, this just pisses me off so much.
Mass immigration, because you can go on our government website. You can go on our government website now, the .gov website now, and you will see the very long list of empty jobs that are desperately required to be filled. So we can talk about jobs from our construction industry,
Lady, they call it Londonistan.
to our care industry, to our medical industry, to vets.
What are you talking? What? They call it Londonistan. People are so angry there.
Who calls it that?
I do. So do lots of people. Katie Hopkins, Londonistan.
Who calls it that?
Hang on.
Who calls it that?
It's a boiling pot.
Who calls it that?
And the thing is, like, it can be totally avoided. It can be totally avoided if you follow the actual will. Hang on. If you followed your actual will of your own people who consistently vote against this stuff. And you guys use every back door in the world to ignore them anyway, even though your own people are like, we don't want it anymore. They've consistently voted against it. And the UK government consistently betrays them.
I don't know who calls it that name. And I don't know
Contend with the argument, lady. Contend with the argument. Are you saying that there is that white people aren't a minority in London? White people are a minority in London. Native British people are a minority in London. That's why they call it Londonistan. Contending with the argument like, who calls it that? Lots of people. Move on.
You're referencing when you say your people.
You've never heard that, huh?
But what I do understand is that we have been consistently misled about the importance of immigration, about why we need people to come to this country and to your great nation to work. We see that in your farmers, for example.
How are you going to get a nice curry if you don't have Indians in there who wipe their bum with their right hand and then make it for you? If you don't have Indians, how will you get a nice curry? That's literally there. That is literally, I'm not even joking, guys. It sounds like I'm satirizing these people, but that is literally their argument. Okay? It's that these people are slaves and they'll do all the slave labor, and British people like curry.
Who are struggling to get their crops in, who are losing money over and over and over because they do not have the workforce to replace it with those that have lost. And when we talk about Piers, the people who have departed from this great nation, why is it? Well, it's the same thing that we saw with Brexit, wasn't it? When we saw the great Polish workers and the Romanians, etc., leaving in droves because they were chased away by the blatant racism, the outrageous behaviour that they were receiving.
We can address the point. Like, you just said a bunch of stuff that wasn't true. What actually happens is not that we need more illegal immigrants, especially here in the United States. What happens with these farmers is they get massive subsidies. The will of the people is that we don't want mass migration, and a country is made up of its people. Our people don't want mass migration. The people in the UK don't want mass migration.
Watch her get mad about the language he's using. What do you mean, our people? That's fascist.
And my GDP argument is not going to help you with that. You understand?
Every country,
there's more important things than second-class slave laborers to fill your pockets.
Of mass migration.
They don't want mass migration.
Every country has grown great from mass migration.
But Paula.
I hate these people so much. First of all, Paula, every country is not great. Okay? I mean, did the British Empire grow great from mass migration? Like, every country is not great, and the reason why they become great is not because of mass migration. Okay? It's when people who have high levels of ingenuity come into one place or are in one place, like America, like the Germans doing in Germany over the years until they got defeated in World War I and II. Rest in peace, or the Weimar. Russia over many years, halted by obviously Soviet Union and communism, by the migration of Bolsheviks into the country. I mean, the argument, if every country is made great by mass migration, then the argument would be that if you don't have mass migration, then you can't have a great country.
To deny that is misleading society.
It's not misleading.
We continue to need mass migration to grow our economy. It's a very basic fact.
It is not misleading to say we...
Okay. These people don't realize that the argument that they're making is literally for the third world to be the womb of the first world. They're arguing for slave labor to come in from the third world and do all the shitty jobs that you don't want to do. Yes, you wouldn't do it, Paula, but who the hell did it before the mass migration happened? When Britain was British, were those jobs not being done? Was nobody farming? I'm pretty sure people were farming. Were toilets getting cleaned? I'm pretty sure toilets were getting cleaned. Because what happens is, if you open up a gap in the market, okay, if there's all of a sudden a huge gap in the market and there's a labor shortage for farmhands, then the wages of farmhands will go up and people will be more likely to do it. I worked as a farmhand when I was younger. When I was 18, when I finished school, I went off to Margaret River in Western Australia and I worked on a winery for months. I was getting paid $20 an hour, absolute slave labor in the blistering sun. I thought I was rich. I would go back to my hostel after with my friends. We'd be finished at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because we started at 4 in the morning because the sun's so hot. And we'd come back and I shit you not, guys, we would get a slab of emu beer. Laugh it up in the chat, guys. Laugh it up in the chat. Yes, the beer is called emu beer. It's the national beer of Western Australia. Google it. We'd open up a slab of emu beer. We'd sit on our esky and we'd drink beers and we'd just be, here's to riches. Because I'm 18. I'm a brokey. Go work for $20 an hour. It's like $12 US an hour or something like that. Like, they don't Andrew just had a debate with a guy named Richard Carrier. You guys will see this. It'll come out in the coming days on Modern Day Debate. Andrew backed this guy into a corner and said, is your argument that you want the developing world to be the womb, to be basically like a womb for the Western countries, and you want to replace the demographic crisis and the birth rate crisis with third world immigration? And the guy was like, yep. It's wild. You guys will see this in the coming days.
You have let too many people come into Britain, both illegally and legally, in the last few years.
I accept that there is regular immigration and irregular immigration. I do not accept that human beings are illegal.
All right, I agree with you about Brexit. I voted against Brexit. My worst fears are being materialised. And you talk to any hotelier, restaurateur in any of the major cities, they can't get the staff anymore because they've all disappeared, right? And that's been a real problem of that. But there's another issue, which actually we can discuss as a group, I think, here, which is if you look at the numbers of people who are out of work on benefits, in other words, the state is paying for them, a very large number now in the UK, it's like 5 million in total, over 1 million of those are off work with anxiety. When did we as a society, Paula, allow millions of people to simply say, I'm feeling a bit anxious?
Okay, if Andrew's not going to yell at her again, then I don't care. I think he might, though.
What is happening?
You sound like...
I have to say, as
I don't care.
This stuff is ridiculous. I don't like the fact that seemingly...
Don't care.
All right.
Hey, why would you give...
I'm sure she's a nice lady, guys, but I just don't care.
Brian, what did you feel when you watched that? He actually called a female reporter Piggy.
Let's go.
Take a listen to this.
There's nothing incriminating in the files. Venezuela.
I have never seen that clip. Trump goes quiet, Piggy. Oh, that is phenomenal. Why isn't Andrew laughing? He's trying to be all professional.
Brian, what did you feel when you watched that?
I'm absolutely repulsed
There
by
we
that.
go.
First of all,
There we
he's the
go. He couldn't help himself.
president of the United States. To call somebody Miss Piggy,
Oh.
he's supposed to be a leader. He is supposed to lead the way and, in a sense, be a role model to many out there and be professional. You're the president. It's beneath the presidency. Every single time somebody asks Donald Trump a question that he doesn't want to answer, for example, the Epstein Files, he asked, who are you with? Where are you from? You're fake news. And then he attacks them and threatens them.
Well, let's take a look at that clip too, because the two go hand in hand in a way. Another female journalist. Let's take a look at that clip from the Oval Office.
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched, or somebody psychs you over at ABC, they're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein Files is...
Look at this chick in the back laughing. It's objectively funny.
Nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right.
Now, the White House released a statement saying about the piggy comment. This reporter behaved in an inappropriate, unprofessional way towards their colleagues on the plane. If you're going to give it, you have to be able to take it. One of the theories behind that statement being that the reason he called her Piggy was she was asking too many questions and was being a greedy pig. He didn't actually say Miss Piggy. Brian,
he called her Piggy because she was fat. Like, I don't know if she was fat, but if she's fat, then what? How's he wrong? Is what I want to know. When you call them Piggy, how's he wrong?
Response to that rationale.
Let me respond to that first, and then the last clip you just played. First of all, even if that was true, which I don't think it was, a president would say, hey, I want to give other people a chance to ask questions, or I have no comment on that.
But
Please
Donald Trump's never going to do that. That's not why he got elected.
Because he's repulsive. That's why. Now, going back to that clip that you just played, that reporter asked two very good questions. The Saudi prince was sitting right next to Donald Trump. Our own FBI concluded in an investigation that he was responsible for the murder of an innocent journalist. That's a good question. The second good question she asked, respectfully, by the way, why won't you just release the Epstein Files today? Why do you need all these Republicans' approval on it? She asked it respectfully, and even if she was disrespectful, if you don't want to answer the question, then just say, next question. Can you imagine if, I'm going to tell you something, if Joe Biden or Barack Obama called reporters Miss Piggy, or if Barack Obama or Joe Biden, or quite frankly, any
They don't have the sense of humor.
Democrat answered a question in that fashion, I'd be calling them out as well. But MAGA Republicans, so many of them don't seem to have any problem with that. It's beneath the presidency.
Okay.
He proves it every single day.
Let me ask Andrew what your thought is of the piggy comment in particular.
Yeah, who cares? These people call him a fascist. They call him a... They say that he tried to screw his own daughter. They call him every name under the sun.
Let's go.
And suddenly, it's beneath him. You know,
Let's go.
It's beneath the president. I bet you if I went back and looked at this guy's content, he's probably called him a fascist. He's probably called him a dictator. He's probably said that he's a... He's probably said all of these
Why is this Piggy spurging?
things.
Stop
And
it.
so the thing is like... hang on, man. I didn't interrupt you once. Hey, I didn't interrupt you once. It's beneath your station to interrupt me. It's beneath your station to interrupt me, sir. It's beneath your station. So the thing is like,
things about me that aren't true.
Can I calm down? Can I at least finish and then you can rebut? So the thing is that they call him everything under the sun, and this guy says one thing crash to anybody, and everybody loses their mind. It's like, these are not good faith actors at all. This guy knows, even if he specifically hasn't, his entire party has been calling this guy a fascist and everything else, and a totalitarian dictator, and saying that he's a multiple felon, and they do all of this and run these hit pieces on Trump. So, of course, occasionally he gets upset and he says something back, and then suddenly it's like, oh, it's beneath your office. It's not beneath the office of any of these newspapers to consistently bash this guy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right.
So I just found a post. I haven't listened to it because it's on my phone, but I've shared it here, and we can all have a look at it together. This is this guy. I have no idea what he says. He might say that Trump isn't a fascist. He might say Trump is a fascist. But let's check this out. I've just seen this, so I don't know what he says. This says... John Kelly calls Trump a fascist and claims Trump praised Hitler. Brian Shapiro shares John Kelly's comments about Donald Trump and discusses them. So let's see what he says.
He was asked by this New York Times journalist in this interview about Trump's comments and admiration at times for Adolf Hitler. Have a listen to this.
He commented more than once that, that Hitler did some good things too. And of course, if you know history, again, I think he's lacking in that. if you know what Hitler was all about, it'd be pretty hard to make an argument that he did anything good.
So what would you say when he said to you that Hitler did a lot of good things?
Well, I tell him that. I said, it's very.
Yeah, the volume's low on it, guys. So
If you,
I want to see what he says, though.
it was.
To the conversation. That would be the end of the conversation. Listen, folks, make no mistake about it. If Adolf Hitler was still alive today, Donald Trump would be writing him love letters and sending him COVID test kits. Because Donald Trump admires somebody like Adolf Hitler. He wants to be an evil, murderous dictator. And I'm done making excuses and saying, well, we shouldn't compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. Donald Trump has very similar characteristics in some aspects to Adolf Hitler, and the fact that he wants everybody to kiss his feet. He admires people like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un, and he admires Adolf Hitler. And I'm so glad that John Kelly made that case because it's really, really important. And the interview goes on where John Kelly makes the case that Donald Trump fits a true fascist.
I hate being right sometimes, guys. It's hard. Sometimes you want to take an L just to sort of balance it out a little bit. But he's saying, Andrew, just to recap here, Andrew's just said to this guy, I bet if we looked through this guy's tweets, he would have some things calling Trump a fascist and a wannabe dictator. And the guy goes, no. So let's see how this goes.
Paula, your response.
I'm slightly confused. Your president is a convicted felon. Am I right about that?
34 counts.
And secondly, he was found to have, and I don't want to get this wrong, so Piers, I'm sure you correct me, sexually assaulted.
Don't care, woman, shut up.
They dragged the former president.
And that's a matter for you.
Even a Democrat. Number two, I've never called Donald Trump a fascist. Can I just respond real quickly to what he said, if that's okay, Piers?
Sure.
First of all, I don't represent the Democrat Party. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not even a Democrat. Number two, I've never called Donald Trump a fascist. I don't like the word Nazi. I don't use that as well.
Now we see what we're operating with. He was just saying that if Adolf Hitler was still alive, Donald Trump would be writing him love letters, and he loves Adolf Hitler. But I never called him a fascist. Okay, buddy.
Number three, Donald Trump called Kamala Harris a fascist multiple times on the campaign trail. I didn't hear you complaining about that. Number four, I don't know which people you're referring to, but the buck stops with the guy who's the president of the United States. Now, I'm not saying this is World War III when he calls somebody Miss Piggy. What I am saying is it's beneath the presidency. And you make all these excuses and you curl up into your MAGA pretzel like you MAGA supporters always do. Why can't you just say, hey, guess what? He probably shouldn't have responded that way. It's wrong. This isn't the first time either.
Let me answer your question. Yeah, sure. I'll answer your question because I think it's good. I think it's good that this guy rips these reporters to shreds. I think it's good that he pushes back a little bit in culture. And the reason that he was elected was, hang on. Do you want me to answer the question or not? The reason that he pushes back is because that's what we have him there to do. He's designed to push back against the culture, against the lying mainstream media, who has been lying nonstop since COVID-19. And the thing is we know that now, don't we? Because we know for sure that there was all sorts of political pressure put on by the Biden campaign to remove stories that they didn't like about C-19 and things like this. We know for sure that, and that's what this guy is there for. He's there literally to push back against the mainstream narrative.
Excuse me for interrupting you both.
No, shut up, woman.
But excuse me for interrupting you both. What I'm trying to understand from this.
Oh, no one cares. Make me a sandwich.